NSG community, how are you? It is Sunday and the time now is 6:12. A little bit behind schedule today. Gonna let this play out a little bit. The topic that we are discussing is love. And the title is This Love? So of course, we have Bob Marley playing in the background for a little bit. And I'm gonna stop it now so we can get into the talk. Alexa, stop. I always get a little nervous, not sure if she's gonna stop or not, but hello everybody. So the discussion topic for this live, and it's gonna be kind of a short one because there's just a couple of coaching questions that I have written for this one, and it's around, is this love? And it's taken from the perspective of really going inward and seeking out what love looks like to you and ensuring that the relationship that you're currently in is really a reflection of that. So what often tends to happen is before we do the work to really understand what our needs are and how we want to give and receive love, we can gravitate to some of the more surface level things, such as aesthetics, how handsome or how beautiful the person is, finances, do they reach a certain tax bracket for you? Do they work in a certain field? Is that appealing for you? We also have just the body types and what they look like and so forth. And we get caught up with that. Are they humorous? Like comedy, humor takes it a long way. And we get caught up in these things. And what happens is, as the relationship progresses, you start to realize that there were so many other things that you needed that really wasn't there to begin with. So the foundation wasn't properly set. And then you can find yourself in a situation where the partner that you're engaged with may have their things figured out a little bit more. So they may know a little bit more about what they're looking for, what the expectations are in a partner, and you tend to gravitate more to their side because you didn't take time to figure out what yours look like. And then the next thing you know, you feel like you're constantly in a state of giving, and it's not the equal give and take that you would ideally like or that you hear so many people talk about. And it's because when you went into the situation, there wasn't a lot of work done around putting out there what you wanted and understanding, yes, this is true, and understanding what that looks like. So it's one thing to say, ideally, I want someone who's understanding. What does that mean? How does someone display a level of understanding to you? You have to visualize these things and understand it so that way when you go into a situation with someone, you can communicate that. So there's other parts of this talk that I wanted to highlight. And it was around the unhealthy attachments that we get into, and we call it love. So for two individuals, when they come together, and a lot of work hasn't been done on past traumas, identifying what happened in particular relationships in the past and ways to get over this. Yes, questions will be coming. Oh, you said that you asked these questions. See, I'm like reading through my white shirt and the white letters are not blending well. Yes, so definitely looking into situations and asking these questions, because what happens is the hurt parts of you can then start to gravitate to the hurt parts of someone else. And next thing you know, you have what's known as these trauma bonds that are built because there wasn't a lot of work done pre-relationship. So now you two are in this relationship and you feel like it's love because there's this deep-rooted connection that you guys have that you can't quite explain. What it really is that your hurt was speaking to their hurt, and now y'all came together. Here's what happens over time. you're in that relationship and you feel like you have something to connect on. So y'all sharing, y'all expressing, it's like, oh my gosh, he gets me or she gets me. And after a while, the thing that you needed, that you should have worked on to give to yourself before the relationship, shows up in the relationship. And now that need is unmet. And your partner, with the same situation, it may look different, right? The needs may always be different. However, the way it plays out tends to be the same. Where your partner now, with their hurts and their expectations, are starting to feel away because you are not able to meet theirs. So now you have two people in a situation trying to grab onto any kind of attention that they can get that soothes the pain that they did not handle before they got together. And when that pain is not soothed, now you have two people in a relationship trying to get needs met that neither one of them could have filled from the very beginning. And this wasn't known because the conversations weren't had. And the conversations weren't had because prior to even getting in the relationship, the work to really uncover what happened in the past situation and what happened as a result of that relationship or other relationships that have gone untreated, that work wasn't done either. So now hurt is coming into another relationship with someone else's hurt, and y'all are trying to find healing together. And there's a moment of soothing where it's just like, okay, we see each other, like my pain sees your pain. Okay, great. It starts to feel like love because that part of you is being seen and attended to. When in reality, the place where it really needed attention from was us. It was us paying attention inward and attending to our own needs. And we didn't do that. So now we're here with a partner and we're trying to make it work. Now what happens in the relationship after a while is that the two individuals are trying and more hurt is being built on. Anger and resentment is being piled on. And when you leave, if the person leaves, then you leave with this extra layer of pain, resentment, lack of understanding, and even more needs that weren't met. And then the cycle repeats. So this conversation is to really invite each and every one of us who are in a relationship or not in a relationship to really think about what it is that you're receiving. If you're in a relationship, what it is that you're receiving from this person. What parts of you are they fulfilling? And without them, how whole would you feel? And if there are parts of you that you feel cannot be maintained without this person, that's the area where you want to do some work, because one person should not hold the key to your healing. That is not their job. A relationship should complement parts of you that you are sure about, that you are secure of. They should complement you. They should not fill voids. And that's the thing that happens to us so many times. We think that a person is going to come in and fill the void. It's the love that we have for ourselves that takes care of that. And then it allows us to have more to spill over and share and give to others, and it complements that person. So reflect on this. The work is challenging, and to identify and say, okay, there are pieces of me that I still need to work on. When you're in a relationship, that's scary. However, the effects of not doing it is damaging. So either work through the fear or have to deal with the damage later. Either way, the work is going to force itself to get done. So it's either going to continue to get done on other people, or you are going to take this time to pay attention inward and to work on yourself. I want to just kind of take it to the chat and see if there are any questions that I can answer before I go ahead and share some coaching questions that I would encourage people to ask when they're thinking about how to examine if this is a love situation or if this is just your pain being fed and fueled by someone else's pain. All right. Let me look down at my notes to make sure I have my questions in order. So, one of the first questions I would say that would help to ask is, what part of me is attracted to this person? So this question helps you to examine where this attraction and where this is prior to the love situation. So for new relationships, listen up. What part of me is attracted to this person? If you find that this person, you feel like they complete you, you feel like that they're overloading you with compliments, so your insecurity about your looks are now being fed, for example, then that is an indication right there that there's some work that you want to do on yourself to make sure that, absent this person giving you those compliments and fueling you with that charge that you receive when they tell you how beautiful you are, that you still can hold it down yourself. And physical aesthetics is just one example. So whatever answer you come to, make sure that it's something that's self-sustainable as well. The next question that comes up around this examination would be, and this is for people who are in relationships, to identify if it's love or if it's something else. And the question is, what are the hurtful parts of this relationship? So thinking about the arguments and the places where you two don't really connect, what are those parts? Name them, label them, write them down if it's helpful. And then there's a second question that goes along with it. And it's, how harmful is it to your overall well-being? So the parts of the relationship that don't really mesh well with you, the parts that you don't particularly like, how harmful is it to your physical health, your mental health, and your development? If this part or these parts, if it's more than one, is detrimental to any one of those areas, this is not love. This is a toxic situation that you really want to examine safe ways to get out of. One of the things that often happens is we ignore some of these questions, and it starts to get worse as time progresses because we didn't ask particular questions or look into certain areas of our lives ahead of time. And then people become comfortable, and it's like, okay, you know that whole saying of take an inch or give an inch and someone takes a mile? That inch starts to increase until the next thing you know, you have a mile, and then that is highly problematic. So these are questions to help you kind of safeguard yourself in advance before it goes that far. So those are some coaching questions that I have. This topic is such a huge one, and it covers, there are a number of different areas that it can cover in addition to just intimate partner situations. Some of these questions that were shared can also be related to friendship situations and family situations, right? When we think about family, we feel that we just have to, sometimes we feel we have to put up with anything that they offer because of the blood relation. Absolutely not true. You can take some of these questions and apply them to family situations, because healing requires, our healing can stretch the gamut. It can be in intimate relationships and family relationships and things that have happened with our friends. I feel like on these lives, I've talked about all three of those areas at one point or another. So feel free to look back at any of the other lives that I have done, and know that if there are any additional questions that come up in regards to anything that was discussed today, please message me. Consultation sessions to help you see if working through this is what is required of you right now. That's available under the Book Now section. I always say session when I should be saying section of my main Instagram page. So feel free to reach out. Sessions are also available for coaching around these topics. So please reach out. When I post this, I am going to post a couple of hotline numbers, because if you are in an unsafe situation, the time is now to act. So I will share some information under this post to help safeguard anyone. Feel free to share it with whomever you feel needs it. Scrolling through, people don't really need to know what you're looking at. So if you feel unsafe, then just you're doing your casual browse, take a screenshot or whatever, write down a number and see whatever you need to do to protect yourself. Please take care of yourself. And that is about it. So I'm going to close out there. And I'm going to also remind people that there are still a couple of seats available for the workshop that I'm hosting. So this one is a love-centered workshop. However, this one is all about healthy expressions of love and kind of putting those things out there and communicating in a group of individuals who are all single, so you never know who you might meet on that day. And at most, you'll walk away with a deeper understanding of what you want and how to communicate that in a way that people can hear and receive. And that's also very, very true to you. So thank you for tuning in on this Sunday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, wait, I got a question in the chat. Can you go into more detail about the work that leads to self? Oh, that's a loaded question to kind of go into detail about. I'll try to sum it up and say, one of the things that I'm very passionate about and I pay very close attention to in my coaching business is the Black community and the love that we really deserve amongst ourselves and the lack thereof. The ways that we have not been afforded opportunities to really talk about, express, and to share our hurts, our pains, and our loves, our successes, and all those things, as well as the need to still show up for ourselves and one another. So what I do with my coaching practice is I go there. I am talking about the deep-rooted hurts and pains that we cover up and the ways that we show up sometimes that look unfavorable to others when really it is our protective mode in action just trying to keep us afloat. And I'll talk about this under a number of topics. So whatever it is that the client is coming to, whatever the goal is, we're going deep to figure out what's gotten in the way of the person achieving it in the past. Because one thing we know is that resiliency gives us this amazing ability to push through darn near anything, right? And if there have been points where you've wanted to do something, but you struggle to do it, there is a block. And that block needs to be uncovered. And sometimes through fear, we can't quite see it. So we're going to uncover until we get there. And then we're going to put in plans for success to make sure that that block is no longer something to hold you back. And the way that we have this, so the way that we discuss this through my coaching practice is in such a way that it's applicable to a number of different areas. So the sessions that we go through, the skills that you learn, there'll be constant references to let you know how you can apply it to other areas of your life, because this is all about healing and growth within our community. Of course, this is not exclusive to people of color or to my Black folks. However, this is especially for us. So not sure if that answered the question. I hope it gave a little bit of insight as to how this is done. And all of it leads to a greater appreciation for self, which increases self-love. So NSG community, thank you so much for tuning in. And for those that will tune in, I hope that you enjoy. Remember to share and to go on to my LinkedIn tree, which is found in the bio. Subscribe to the YouTube page, subscribe to the website to stay in the know, and I'll be talking to you guys. Have a great Sunday.